XDefiant is having a short live play session from June 20th until the 23rd. With that, I dove in as soon as I could to shake off some rust and see where the game's at. And well, it's a little bit disappointing for me. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy my videos, please give this one a like, and if you want to keep up to date with gaming news, please consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to ring that bell so that YouTube might actually do its job one day and recommend my videos to you when they come out. XDefiant is a game that I'm desperately hoping to see succeed. I feel we need more fast-paced arcade-like shooters that can provide a unique experience, and most importantly, prioritize gameplay and balance to give players as fair a match as possible. I've been very supportive of XDefiant ever since I got my hands on it earlier this year, but there always seems to be some sort of issue that's constantly plaguing these play sessions. Last time it was due to the game running on bad netcode, as well as bad server stability, and this time around it's actually a performance issue. Yes, a game that looks like it would have released about 7 years ago is having performance issues all of a sudden. I never had this issue before on previous builds, but essentially the game will drop 50 or more of my frames while respawning. The good news is that the frame drops are happening after gunfights, so the gameplay is not directly hindered. However, it's very fatiguing to be spawning back in with 50 less frames for the game to catch up a few seconds later. It's as if the game was on pause for 3 seconds before I can actually keep moving on. Needless for me to say, the first day of this play session didn't go so well for me. I'm not the only one experiencing this issue, and even when running the game in proper full screen, I am still getting the same amount of frame drops. I feel this game isn't really going to give the game justice unless they fix this issue and fast. If they're unable to do so, I really can't be bothered to play the game that makes me feel like it's trying to give me motion sickness from the sudden frame drops. That being said, I do have more positive videos on my channel if you want to check those out on the previous play sessions. So keeping that in mind, I honestly was not having much fun with this play session. Last time I was doing just fine outside of the netcode issues, but this time around there's not much in the game that really has me hooked like it did before. The ACR rifle received a few nerfs, and rifles in general just feel useless in many gunfights, even though I'm going up against someone with the exact same rifle. The gunfights I end up in tend to either be all my shots hit, or I die before I get a shot off. Now that we have a better netcode, we can better tell where the TTK stands in the game. It is fairly long and players can turn the fight around. Sometimes it feels like headshots have no meaning though, as I hit a guy 4 times on the head and they are still standing before the 5th bullet landed. XDefiant has always been a mixed bag with these play sessions, but just like your favorite bag of Chex Mix, sometimes you get more of what you like the most, and other times you'll end up getting a handful that has everything you don't like. And well, I'm at that point right now with this game. Whether it's the frustrating performance issues or the weapon balance changes, the game doesn't feel like just any weapon will work for close range combat, unless you're running an SMG or a horribly inaccurate rifle with a lot of horizontal recoil. Each gunfight feels more like a toss-up than it does anything else. Horizontal recoil in particular kicks really hard with some weapons like the ACR, and just makes the gun not fun to use. Whether it was like that before, I don't really know, it's been too long for me to actually tell. I also want to keep in mind that I am using mouse and keyboard, and so I do have to fight with the recoil a little more than how it's designed for a controller. And so I do think whatever nerfs or buffs that they've been doing are benefiting the controller class and controller players a little more than mouse and keyboard. At least that's my experience. Horizontal recoil tends to be the killing factor for mouse and keyboard to actually be worthwhile. Now, outside of that, everything else with the game is fine. The abilities still are not completely overpowered, but the Libertad healing faction is still very, very annoying to deal with. Personally, if there's one thing that would make me stop playing this game tomorrow, it's the Libertad faction. With their ability to heal quickly, it acts as a get out of jail free card and a Una reverse card at the same time. I honestly am completely lost with how this faction in particular can be balanced. What this does though is have me wanting to have unranked lobbies that limit to each faction, which would mean having unranked 4v4 or 5v5 lobbies, but only having one Libertad player on each side. I still do have hope for this game, but right now I don't really have anything positive to say about it. If you were on the fence during the previous playtest, the session will probably not change your mind. If you had a ton of fun with the previous play session, barring any performance issues some of us are experiencing, you probably would still be having a lot of fun. So what has been your experience so far? Has XDefiant done anything to make you love or hate it? Let me know and let's talk about it in the comments below. Until then, I am Mr. Rain, and I will see you guys next time.